joining us right now on the Comcast Business Hotline from the Ricky Room. Super Bowl champion, former Super Bowl champion. You see him on pre- and post-game live. You see him on Birds Huddle, Mr. Barrett Brooks. How you doing today, Barrett?
I'm real good, man. I'm real good. I'm trying to temper my expectations right now as far as getting amped up for the Super Bowl. I wish it was like this for me. We had, when I won the Super Bowl 40, we played that Saturday or Sunday. We were in Detroit the very next, 2 days later. We went back. We flew straight from Denver, got there, went straight to the facility, went down, got a game plan, and then we flew the next day. So we had 1 day to pack and get everything settled for our families and everything, and we were back on the road flying out to Detroit to practice in Pontiac.
Yeah, that's no good. This one, you get time to breathe. And we've been pacing ourselves and going through each and every part of the game. And the thing we've been going over this time is the last 2 years, this is now basically almost 3 years, Mahomes has been that top dog. He's been the dragon that you have to slay. And Lamar has gotten close and didn't get it done. And Allen got close and didn't get it done. And Hurts, and I'm not blaming Hurts for it, but Hurts got close and didn't get it done.
Outplayed him.
Yeah, outplayed him, but didn't get it done. We're talking about the quarterback matchup, starting with Jalen Hurts. What do you think Jalen needs to do as far as individually to help the Eagles have the best chance of slaying the dragon?
Keep doing what he's doing, managing the game, making sure that he's making the correct decisions while he's out there running that game plan. See, a lot of people are kind of disappointed that Kellen Moore might be leaving. I think that, with the way our offense is constructed, it's really easy on how you call games. What I do admire about Kellen Moore is he didn't stop running the ball. A lot of guys will say, all right, it's not working. No, he stayed with it. But you stay with it because Jalen Hurts can run the offense in that way because you still got to account for him. And eventually the defense will make a mistake when you got both Jalen and Saquon Barkley in the huddle. I think that's what Jalen does the best, making sure that you account for his athletic ability and his ability to run this offense and run his offense without making mistakes. That's the biggest thing Jalen does. He doesn't make many mistakes. He doesn't turn the ball over, and he runs the offense where he is definitely a weapon as far as running the ball in this offense.
How big is it for Jalen Hurts? Obviously, because we've already seen him in a Super Bowl, he's not afraid of the moment. How big is that to have your quarterback going in there, and he's just going in there to play a game?
It's huge. It's huge. That's one of the unique things that Jalen brings to the table. The moment is never too big from the fact he stands up in those moments and becomes a better player when those moments happen. To be a great quarterback, to be one of the elite quarterbacks, you have to play elite all the time. Jalen goes out there, manages the game, makes sure he makes the right decision, but has the ability to be able to be great and be that quarterback you need to take the game over. And, with those abilities, there's no stopping him. I mean, you have to put him in with those type of players because in elite moments, he plays elite.
Barrett, I want to talk to you about, because when you were with the Steelers, they're one of the premier organizations. The Chiefs have become, at the very moment, the premier organization. The Eagles are amongst the premier organizations. What do those teams do? And when you were here with the Eagles, they weren't yet at that elite status yet.
No.
So what is it, being that you've been on both sides of this, what is it that organizations like the Eagles and the Chiefs do that maybe these other ones do? Because it's not just the players the way turnover is in the NFL. It has to be more than just that.
It starts up top, man. Great ownership. At the end of the day, Mr. Lurie, great owner. He talked about the gold standard 20 years ago, and now his team is an elite team in the NFL. I remember when he first bought the team. I had just gotten drafted there. In fact, I was his first offensive tackle he drafted. It was Mamula, Bobby Taylor, and me in the first and second round. What he's done is make sure he has people around him that have the same type of the same type of vision that he has. He wants to have an elite status type of organization, so he pays for that eliteness. He's not afraid to spend money and make his team elite. Everything from the workout facilities. I was in the vet. He didn't. He tried to get us out the vet then. Eventually he did. He got us in a better place, now Lincoln Financial Field. He does the little things to make sure this organization is put up like that, and that's exactly what it is. You look at ownership with the Kansas City Chiefs. They bring in great coaches. They brought in a coach that really is an elite coach who's made himself elite. He wasn't necessarily elite with the Eagles, but allowed him to come in, make those type of decisions, the same decisions he had with the Eagles, but he make those decisions as far as personnel, bringing in coaches, making sure that he can make decisions that will complement who he is as a person. When you can have a higher up, an owner, believe in your system, it helps you become a better coach because now it's up to you. You got to make it happen. So I think that's what elite teams do. That's what elite status type of gold standard teams do. They allow people in the organization to have your same vision, but run it in a way in which gives you an opportunity to be great.
Bear, I got to ask you because we kind of were talking about this, like going down to New Orleans. I mean, it's completely different. They have an extra week than you did. But what would you say to a player if going to a Super Bowl? What would you tell them to do during the week, the waiting week?
It's focus, man. You got to focus. You're down there to do a job. You're not down there to go to Alligator Voodoo or be on Bourbon Street and all that stuff. You're going down there to take care of business. This is where you are among the best players to ever play the game. When I won the Super Bowl, I was the best sixth man coming off the bench in the world, because I won a Super Bowl and I was on top of the world. You have a chance to be written with amongst the greatest players in the world, and you have to grab this opportunity to make sure that your whole total focus. And it's hard because you got families going to want to be there. You got people that want to ride your coattails. You got to say, hey, I'm here to do a job. Y'all take care of that. I am here to win a Super Bowl. I am here to make sure that I am one of the best players on this team to do whatever I need to do to win a Super Bowl. And that's your sole objective, to be the greatest player you could be. And the great thing is you got people like A.J. Brown. He's forcing guys to understand that, look, we got a job here to do. You got people like Jalen Hurts say, hey, we want to be great. We got to play great, but you got to prepare great. You need that proper performance. You know what I'm saying? You got to make sure you go down there with the objective and the mindset to win this game and win it convincingly. I mean, to me, it's got to be, I am dethroning the king. I am slaying the dragon. I am coming down here to take care of business, make sure there's no doubt that the Eagles organization, the Eagles players, and this Eagles win will be one of the best wins ever in Super Bowl history.
We're speaking with Barrett Brooks. You see him on pre- and post-game live Birds Huddle, and, of course, a Super Bowl champion. I want to ask you about Vic Fangio and how he differs from Jonathan Gannon. Jonathan Gannon, first half of his defense, pretty good. Andy Reid makes some adjustments. Gannon was then chasing and playing catch-up the whole time. Vic Fangio obviously been there, done that, more of a veteran guy, the architect of this defense. Does that give the Eagles a better chance of lasting the full 60 minutes defensively this time versus what happened the last time?
Tyrone, this would give the Eagles the edge this time. You have a guy that can go out there, and he can change what he's doing from drive to drive. You saw at the end of the Rams game. Towards the end, the drive before, they went straight down and scored. Came back out, had another chance to come down straight down and score. What does he do? He changes it up. He becomes more aggressive. It's not like what you have with Gannon. Gannon tried to stay in the same defense the whole second half. Vic Fangio's not having that. So I think that's a distinct advantage. Yeah, Spags is a great defender on the other side, but I still think there's nobody that can stop Saquon Barkley in the offensive line. But what I do see is that we have a guy with enough experience and enough gumption to call plays and be more aggressive when we need to. In fact, I think he really started the game plan on how to play the Chiefs and, what he did against this last team, the Washington Commanders. You got to stop their short game. You got to make sure that you have guys who can cover Kelsey in the middle of the field, those little option routes that they give him. He has a great ability to sit down and have himself being open. We got somebody for him. We got Zach Bond. Zach Bond will make sure that we can render that, that Mahomes-Kelsey relationship, and make sure we're in a proper place to do that. We have a bunch of aces on our side that can go out there and really, in all actuality, take out their kings. And that's a bottom line. In a game of spades, I really like Vic Fangio's hand better than I like the offense of the Kansas City Chiefs. I told you guys before. I said it the first week of the season. I said the Eagles will win, not get to the Super Bowl, they will win the Super Bowl if they have Saquon Barkley win the rushing title. Well, he won the rushing title. I have not swayed from that or veered away from that the entire season. Even when we were 2-2, as long as Saquon Barkley wins the rushing title, that's the identity they have, that tough, hard-nosed football, the Eagles will win the Super Bowl. And that's exactly what's happening because, number one, it's an identity that they have in their head, and they're willing to go out there and sacrifice their body and their mind to win a Super Bowl. And that's exactly what's happening.
How do you define a coach like Andy Reid?
I would say Andy Reid is a player's coach who understands how to pull the best out of the players that he has. Like, he doesn't have all the superstar athletes. I mean, he got Juju Smith-Schuster playing receiver for him, Yes, he has some fast guys like Worthy, Hollywood Brown's a fast guy. But, hey, our defense is one of the fastest defenses in the NFL. He has guys that can run with those guys. You won't surprise them, like you surprise other teams. You got smart players back there. Reed Blankenship is one of the smartest safeties in the league. He understands where he needs to be, how he fits in, and where everybody else is fitting in, which allows him to be great and cover where he needs to cover. That's the difference between what we had then and now. We have smart players that can play, and they're fast. This defense is fast. So I'm looking forward to this game being a bunch of cloak and dagger, a bunch of, game planning in which, one team is trying to make sure that they can lock this up, but they still have something they can pull out to stop this. This is going to be a great matchup between two teams that are very talented, and I would dare to say a coaching staff that can now go toe-to-toe with Coach Reid and his coaching staff.
Well, Barrett, great stuff as usual. We appreciate it. I appreciate you. We're pacing ourselves. It's good to see that you're going through the same thing. We try not to get too hyped too early.
You see, I don't have the goosebumps yet, man. I'm trying to. This is probably the calmest I've been on your show, simply because I know.
A little too calm.
I don't agree. I think that you get the right note.
I got to tell myself. I'm in your room, Ricky. I'm in your room, man. And this is like, I should have turned the lights off, made it the dark room, because I really need to stop and calm down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm with you. Next week, we'll talk to you next week. I'll also see you before the game.
For sure.
Next week with Huddle and pregame and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
all guns blazing, baby. We're going to make it happen.
Yes, sir. That was Barrett Brooks on the Comcast Business Hotline from the Ricky Room. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching. Really appreciate it. If you want more of this content, make sure you like and subscribe. And you can do that kind of over here if you want more of the best show ever.